Top peeps, Money in the Bank results next. I will say this. The Money in the Bank matches were the worst on the card. I didn't even watch the women's Money in the Bank. I just watched the men's Money in the Bank match, but even that was just terrible. It was boring. Now there were a few good spots. Okay, there were a few okay spots. But it just wasn't that entertaining. By the way, speaking of spots, I think Logan Paul actually kind of had a bad fall, kind of like a failed fall a little bit, because it just looked like it just wasn't all the way the right landing. And then, his shoulder had blood on it, so that's why I say probably wasn't probably wasn't the best landing. But in the end, Damian Priest wound up winning the men's Money in the Bank match. Who cares, right? And just in case you're wondering about the women's Money in the Bank match, it winded up being Io Sky again. It just the Money in the Bank matches were just not that exciting this year. I'm sorry. Next up, it was Gunther versus Riddle. The match was subpar. Gunther pretty much just destroyed Riddle. He won with a power bomb. Okay, nothing special. But then afterwards, Drew McIntyre is back in WWE. He showed up. And then Gunther, he started the fight because he shoved Drew McIntyre back. He pushed him back. And then Drew McIntyre headbutt, down goes Gunther. And then, 3, 2, 1, Claymore kick. Yes, indeed. Claymore kick. And yes, that right there, my friends, is Drew McIntyre's return to WWE. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic. This one's going to be quick. Basically, in the end, an Alabama slam, a Cody cutter, and a crossroads, and Cody Rhodes won the match. And that's basically that. Give Cody Rhodes a better opponent. Come on. Then after that, it was just silent. We didn't know what to expect. And who would have ever expected John Cena to show up? Who would have expected that? Come on. John Cena? What? Who would have expected that? Yes, John Cena showed up and he was like, surprise! I was like, man, this is pretty cool. And he said WrestleMania needs to come to London. It might be a cool experience having WrestleMania, go to London, because guess what? WrestleMania would actually be during the day. So it might be kind of an interesting experience. But yeah, and then they could probably do the WrestleMania in one night again, because it would go off a little earlier. But man, that was cool. And then guess who ruined the party? Grayson Waller ruined the party. And then he showed up, and then he disagreed. He said WrestleMania does not need to come to London, and he said, "How about we do WrestleMania in Australia, and how about we do the biggest Grayson Waller effect, his talk show, with John Cena, and it's almost like your retirement." So basically, he's trying to retire John Cena. It was so funny. John Cena, when he's trying to retire him, John Cena, he said, "I'll pass on that." Which was so funny. Obviously, Grayson Waller didn't like that, right? So as soon as John Cena turned his back, boom! Right in the back, clobbered was John Cena. And then Grayson Waller, I don't know what that is that he does. You know that thing where he goes down to his knees and switches his knees? I don't know what kind of crap that is. And then it was taking a little bit too long, and then John Cena scooped him up for an attitude adjustment. AA, boom, down on the ground, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, that was actually really cool. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. In the middle of the match, for the most part, Finn Balor was getting the best of Seth Rollins, I will admit. Then, Damian Priest winded up walking out there almost like he's gonna cash in, right? So then he was walking out there, and then it was like, uh-oh, it's time to cash in. And then he just sat down. But that distraction allowed Finn Balor to take advantage not once but twice. The first time was when Damian Priest walked out there. Finn Balor took advantage with a roll up. The second time Seth Rollins was looking at Damian Priest, he was distracted because he was wondering if he was going to cash in. Finn Balor took advantage again. So that right there was twice. But then the distraction wound up being on Finn later on because when Finn Balor was going for the coup de grace on top of the ropes, Damian Priest stood up. Finn Balor looked over at him like, "What are you doing?" Right? That distraction. By the time he went for the coup de grace, Seth Rollins had enough energy to roll out of the way, and then boom, stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins retained the championship, and now it's some tension between Finn and Damian Priest. Bloodline Civil War, the best part of the night. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. We noticed something very early in the match, like a few minutes in between Solo and Jay. I think Jay was kind of getting a little bit of the best. Solo, or was it Jimmy? It was one of them. No, it was Jay. It was Jay. I think Jay was kind of getting the best of Solo to a degree. And then Roman, he had a very angry look on his face. And then, like some people may think that this is, not that bad, but I'm gonna ask you this. If you don't think that this is an angry look, let me ask you this. Would you tap a person with this look on the shoulder? Okay, I didn't think so. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Solo looked back at Roman. Roman wanted to tag in. Solo did not want to tag him in. It was something very suspicious about that. But then Solo just tagged him on in. It's almost like it was allowed to rest, but still it was a long silence there before he tagged him in. And even the commentator said, "Okay, wait a minute, is everything okay between them?" You know what I mean? Something else is just how right Sami Zayn was about when Paul Heyman gets in Roman Reigns' head. That's when he gets that macho thing going on. He's kind of like big dog Roman Reigns when he hasn't been talked up by Paul Heyman, and then tribal chief Roman Reigns when he has been talked up by Paul Heyman. Because guess what? Roman Reigns gets out of the ring and starts to kind of like regroup, and then Paul Heyman starts talking him up, and then he marches right back in that ring. So you get this. It's absolutely crazy. You get what I'm getting at. So Sami Zayn was right, to a degree. Sami Zayn was right. And in the middle of the match, Roman Reigns he had the what's that? I forget the name of that chokehold. The chokehold locked in. The guillotine on um Jimmy. And then I don't know why my brain's kind of stuck. And then Jimmy surprisingly broke out of it, and then Roman was getting ready to try to lock it back in, and then boom, backed up into the referee. Referee out cold. The Usos, one and done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The referee was down, man. When Roman and Solo regroup, then they do a very destructive move. They do a spear and a Samoan spike at the same time. It was very destructive. Like no one has ever kicked out of the Samoan spike. They stacked them, like they said, smash them, spike them, stack them, pin them, and win. Right, but now there has been a person to kick out of the Samoan spike because they kicked out. Good for them, right? Then they're like, okay, what do we do? Then Solo started doing more damage. He put Jimmy on the table. Then right after that, then Solo got up top on the top of the guardrail and was gonna dive through. But as he jumped through, Jimmy rolled off the table. Boom, he jumped through an empty table. Then it was just back and forth in the ring. It was super kick by Jay, Superman punch by Roman, super kick by Jay, spear by Roman, and then Roman Reigns goes for the cover. You know how on more than one occasion Roman Reigns cheated when someone pinned him and he kicked out, and when he pinned him, as he lifted his shoulder, he also hit them at the same time. And you know what I'm talking about? And Jay did that to Roman. 1, 2, boom, Roman Reigns. And then it's like, oh my God, right? pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And then not right after that, then it just winded up becoming a super kick parade. Super kicks to Roman, and then Solo jumps on the apron, super kicks delivered, and then a a tag into Jay, splash on the top rope, and yes, 1, 2, 3, fair and square. Roman Reigns, well, almost fair and square. Maybe there was a little bit of cheating, but this cheating is acceptable because of the fact that Roman Reigns did it to him back in 2020. So, okay, never mind. But at least I think he did. I know he did it to more than one person, and I think Jay was one of the opponents. But anyways, still Roman Reigns has done it to other people, so it's acceptable for this one time. And yes, Roman Reigns has been pinned. For the first time since 2019. But yeah, peeps. Sorry, I kind of stretched that out. I was kind of thinking to make sure there was nothing else. But okay, there is nothing else. But seriously, that's it for this video. Peace out, peeps. Oh yeah, before we go, there was something I forgot. This Solo situation and Roman. I don't know what that's about, but it's something that's there. There's something that's there. Solo didn't like something, but I don't know what. But yeah, that's it for this video, peeps. Peace out, peeps.